What's up, guys? Let's get some quick painting done today. So we have our head. We did this a while ago. The head right now, the dark part, or let me get this guy out of here. I think he's throwing off our focus. What am I even talking about? Okay, no, it's Bad Bruise. This was very, very watered down Bad Bruise. The super dark spots are the Tenebris Gray that was just left over on our wet palette. We're gonna try something crazy today. I want to do this fast, but I want it to look good. And I've been playing around with the Sunny Skin Tone on these Infinity models. And this is a wet palette, but it's currently dry. I didn't want it to get moldy, but I just didn't want to waste this sheet right here. So I'm still using it for when I don't necessarily need the wet paletteness, if that makes sense. So I've got some of that just straight from the pot. This is Vallejo Model Color Sunny Skin. It is a very peachy white, like a very, very warm white, like a very orange peachy flesh tone, obviously. So this is way brighter than where we are and where we want to end up on this thing. But we want these like dark and violet undertones because we want them to look undead but alive at the same time. Like maybe that like at first glance they look like they're alive, but then the longer you look at them, the more uncanny they look. And we want to try to achieve that effect, and this brush is starting to curl on me. We want to achieve that effect on these infantry models as easily and as quickly as possible. And of course on like the Warcasters and the other figures, we'll spend more time doing it. But I want to try and see if I can get away with doing this. So we have this violet undercoat, and I'm going to hit the very bright edges with this, and we'll see. And again, oh, don't drop it in the paint. That could have been terrible. Probably should not be painting over my wet palette. This is still very much like I'm just sketching in like the ultimate highlight. Tips of the ears, because we're gonna see if we can get lucky and do this and then just do a pass of a glaze, like 1 or 2 layers of a glaze over it. So then we're going to do this. We'll hit the very top of this bald head. We're just kind of like sketching the values here of this head. And hopefully we're in focus. I think I fixed my autofocus and focus lock problems. So painting the brow, I think it's definitely time to give this brush some deep master's treatment here. I'm going to paint the nose, and like I'm not painting the whole nose with this color. I'm just painting that very bright, the final point of the nose, and then eyes and cheeks. And maybe there's a better. There we go. So you can see, I definitely need to get a better camera. I'm realizing, or one better suited to this kind of thing. But it's pretty rough, and hopefully you can tell it's pretty rough. I'm gonna hit the lips. I'm gonna hit this like sharp jawline. Follow this little cheek line. That jaw is in shadow. That's you can tell, so it needs to be a little bit darker. And then now I'm going to go back and just do a second pass here on the parts that need to be the brightest spot, because you can see, hopefully you can see, as this is drying, it is getting a lot less bright. Okay, so now I'm washing my brush out because I need to get my masters. I need to clean this poor thing. Probably give it a little bit of a rest here, because I love this brush and I don't want it to become my next dry brush. All right, so now I'm gonna get a bunch of water out of the paint cup, just a little dot right here. Actually, I'm gonna probably need all the paint I have on the palette now to get it to this consistency. So see, it looks pretty thick there, but when it's on my hand, you can see it's like going into the cracks. So this is very watery. So now we need to get a lot of this off the brush so we don't make a big mess. Now we're gonna glaze this. We're just gonna glaze it up. Up from the shadows to the top. And we're doing this. We just want to make sure we deposit our paint, and we got to be careful down here because we don't want it to look like she has a beard. And we don't, this is very wet. I almost probably need to take a little bit more off. And we definitely want to get this back head right here. And we're just glazing that so that it's not as obvious that we just threw color on. And like from looking at it in the camera, like the head already looks pretty good from just that. So I think this is gonna work. I'm worried. I probably won't use Tenebris because it's definitely gonna look like she's got a 5 o'clock shadow. So we gotta, I'm just giving that area a little bit extra love. A little bit of cheeky love. And here we're just 420 glaze it. 5, what's today's date? 5/9 glaze it. And we're not gonna glaze all day. I'm gonna let this sit now because I just put a ton of paint on this model and I don't want it. See, like we're getting like, when you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, that's a face. But then the more you look at it, you're like, hey, there's some colors in there that aren't entirely natural. And that was after just like a couple of dabs of paint and a quick glaze. We're gonna give this a little bit more love, but I gotta stop for now because if I keep touching it, it's gonna tear and it's gonna look bad because we want this smooth. But you can see just from using that watered down Bad Bruise purple and now just straight from the pot, Sunny Skin and a dab of water, the face is like, it looks pretty good without messing around a lot. So we're gonna do a lot more to it too, but let it dry. I'll stop talking. We'll be right back. We're dry now. So I'm just gonna come back in and I'm just gonna build up on these cheeks and the nose here. And this cheek. And I'm gonna hit the chin just a little bit. And just a little bit more here. I like how the ears are. Okay, P3, Bad Bruise. Again, we're not gonna need barely any of this. Just a little bit right there. Water. This is gonna be very watered down because we want to give the eyes like this dark shadow, like it's really gonna help reinforce. So this is mostly water at this point, so I gotta get a lot of it off the brush or it's gonna flood the model and just totally ruin our day. So you see there's barely any paint on it. So I'm gonna paint in the shadows of the eyes with this. Eyes are hard. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But look, this is a size, what is this? I think I've worn it off. This is a size 1. It's still got it's a sable hair. It's got a good tip on it still. It's starting to curl on me, but it's not, like I'm just saying, it's on a pristine straight tip. I'm gonna get some white here and I'm gonna work it into the bristles, maybe a little bit more. And I'm gonna work it into the bristles. And you're doing this because you don't want it to dry on the brush. And now I'm gonna spin it like I'm rotating the pen in my hand, or the brush in my hand. So that brings us to another point. And you can see even like if the brush is curling, maybe you can. I'm gonna use that very tip of the curl to come in here and poke an eye in. And I talked too much and it got dry. So let me, like you need more paint on your brush than you think you do. And you need a thicker brush. All right, so hopefully you can see. And if it doesn't, like, you don't have to put the whole eye in first time. I'm hitting the outsides of it, and I'm leaving a dark to kind of give the effect that there's an eye in there. I think those are pretty good. They're halfway, you know, like, again, this is an infantry model. If I was painting a Warcaster, I'd probably try pretty hard, but table level, there we go. It's in there. Can I get a good picture of it? Very creepy. That's what we were going for. She's staring you down as somebody, like, she's on a mission. Might need to tone them down a little bit, but I don't know. We'll see. There we go. I did some painting. I actually do know how to paint. I remembered how to paint again. I'll see you guys later. Okay, they're vampires, so I had to put a little bit of red on the lips. Very creepy, very uncanny valley. Hopefully he likes it.